this is Loro, and today I have for you two deck lists of a deck that I use quite commonly, or decks I use quite commonly. Might see them used pretty prevalently on my streams, and I've been having people demanding to see the deck list, so decided I may as well just give out two quick synopsises of both of my decks, and I'll have both the deck lists within the same video, so alright, here we go. Start off with 2 Shaman EX for the setup ability. Obviously, it's quite obvious why most people run this these days, but if you aren't already aware, you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench. You may draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. So let's say you have no cards in your hand, and you put Shaman on the bench. As long as its ability is not being blocked, you're going to draw 6 cards. And this ability can be used more than once per turn. So as you can see, it gives off a lot of draw power that you otherwise wouldn't have for supporters. Supporters you can only use once per turn. So this is a very prevalent card and a pretty pricey card if you do intend to make this variation of Mega Gallade. And right here we have a 3/3 line of Forretress. This ability, what it allows it to put 1 damage counter when played from the hand if you evolve it from a Pineco. And as you can see, it's actually quite beneficial to Unwavering Blade. It does 110 damage plus 30 damage to each Pokemon on the bench, on the opponent's bench. It does not include your Pokemon, so you don't have to worry about attacking your own things. So there's that, which is quite beneficial for obviously having a Forretress in this deck. It revolves primarily around these 2 cards, and of course Shaman if you want to get more cards. I do run a single Deoxys. This one I say is completely and entirely optional. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best card and it adds so much to the deck, but it is nice to get it out once in a while. If you have a Dimension Valley up on your first turn or just a single energy, you can use Close Encounter and draw 2 cards immediately. And its Overdrive Smash attack is actually pretty good too, so it does 30 damage plus 60 more damage successfully afterwards. So it's gradually just increasing more damage output. Chances are, though, you're not really going to be using it for its attack, but it only does require 1 energy if you do intend to attack with it. And we have 1 Sigilif. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of it, but if you're not, Safeguard. It basically prevents all effects and attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. As you can see, it's quite helpful in this very EX heavy meta. Well, actually, I wouldn't say it's too EX heavy now because of Raichu and other things. But yeah, it helps a lot in decks that do actually still just run a bunch of EXs. And in actually many cases, I guess Mega Rayquaza, but once in a while they'll just tech in about 1/1 Raichu or maybe Tropius or whatever. And here I have 1 Battle Compressor. Here, I use this primarily so I can throw in at least 1 or 2 energies, basic energies, and a Lysander or any supporter I need if I don't already have a supporter and I have a VS Seeker in my hand. That way I may utilize them that very turn if I haven't already used my supporter for that turn. And of course, I have 2 Mega Turbo. Not 3, because the 3 seems a tad excessive. More than I'll ever need in a single Gallade deck, of course, because it requires at least 2 energies to attack with the Dimension Valley, of course. But if you don't happen to have a Dimension Valley up, it does help to have an additional energy per turn. That way you can use 3 energies and attack so on and so forth. I actually have a Sacred Ash. This one I would say is optional as well, but it's come in handy so many times. Whereas I think I like it just being in this deck generally. So you can put 1 of those in. I wouldn't advise 2. Definitely not 2. So yeah, you can go with that if you like. 1 Scuba Cyclone, for obvious reasons, to pick up Forretress or Shamans, and the 4 Super Scoop Ups as well, which are quite obvious. 2 switches. Must always have some sort of switch initiative. You're probably wondering why I'm not running any Mystery Energy. Chances are I'm not really going to be switching out often, and I really don't do that actually that much. This only requires 1 energy to retreat as well as Sigilif, so retreating isn't always an issue. But if someone does manage to get a Forretress out, you couldn't use a mystery on it anyway, so you may as well just run the switches. One Trainer's Mill, for obvious reasons, but if you're not already aware, you're going to get the top 4 cards of your deck, and if there are any trainers, you can select one of the 4. And of course it does reveal it, so you're not exactly safe. If you don't want to show your opponent your card you're drawing, you have to do that. Or Ultra Ball, for obvious reasons. 3 VS Seeker, for obvious reasons as well. I could put in 4 VS Seeker, but not too sure. I probably should start doing that soon. Maybe. It's still not a thing that's completely and entirely essential, so. 1 Colress, just in case people play Skyfield and just happen to have like full benches up the wazoo. I'm pretty sure most people run at least 1 Colress these days. So yeah, seeing a lot of Skyfields. Even if there isn't a Skyfield, it's quite handy if everyone has a full bench, or even a half a full bench. Draw power is draw power. 1 Lysander, because I generally don't see a point in adding 2 Lysanders in a single deck unless they're really hard hitters, like Mega Aggron or Mega Rayquaza, both colorless and Dragon. I usually only just run 1. 4 N, 4 Sycamore, and 4 Dimension Valleys. The only reason I run 4 is because it's entirely essential that this attacks with as little energy as possible. Try to be as efficient as you can possibly be with the energy usage. So yeah, with the Dimension Valley, it helps out both Sigilyph, Gallade, and Deoxys. Then 3 Spirit Links, for obvious reasons, and 8 basic energies without any special energies at all whatsoever. This meta seems to revolve around discarding special energies pretty prevalently, so decks like double colorless decks or double dragon decks, anything that just runs a lot, if not only special energies, it does help to have simply just basic energies. I don't see much point in having the mystery energies for any reason. Alright, there's that. Let me show you my Crobat variant now. As you can see, it's relatively similar. This variant doesn't have a Deoxys actually. Just 2 Shaman, 3/3 line of Mega Gallade, 1 Sigilyph, and a 3/3/2 line of Crobats. I do have 4 of each of these, and I could potentially put in 4/4/4. A lot of people do that. I don't know why I don't, but I generally just like this this variant more. Just not too many Zubats, not too many Crobats. I still need bench space. I usually only always set up 2 Gallades, but if I know one's going to faint, I have it in the active. I'll just put in a third one, an extra one. It rarely ever happens, but you should always only at least have 2 Gallades set up. Like, of course, that's just my opinion, because I've used this deck a lot and I love it. And then, of course, the 2 Shamans and all the such. Yeah. Golbat, if you aren't already aware, Sticky Bite. When you evolve it, basically like Forretress, except you can only put 2 damage on a single Pokemon. Now, if people realize you're using this, I guess there's no real way to shut it down just yet, not at least until Ancient Origins comes out, when that 1 Hex Maniac supporter is going to be used. There won't be any efficient way aside from Garbodor to shut down its abilities. Not even Wobbuffet can stop these guys, because Wobbuffet obviously only stops Psychic Pokemon. I mean, it doesn't stop Psychic Pokemon. But yeah, 2 damage counters, and then once it's evolved to Crobat, it does 3 damage counters on a Secret Pokemon. You could also actually use its Swoop Across attack. When used, obviously, it puts 10 damage counters onto every single Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. So, as you can see, that's very synergistic with Unwavering Blade. Rarely, though, you would ever really need to use it. People tend to not really swarm their benches these days unless they're playing Skyfield, and only really Skyfield. If they know you're gonna start using things like setup, I guess for Forretress, they will put less things on their bench. Sometimes they don't. If they do, you can just take advantage of that, use Forretress, and then... Alright, back to the Golbats though, anyway. But yeah. Crobats, Golbats, also very good because, unlike Forretress, which is only a stage 1, which only requires a single evolution, and then you can scoop up, this requires, or doesn't necessarily require, but you can evolve twice and then scoop up. So it's a little more efficient with the super scoop ups. You can get 2 evolutions in and 2 potential damage counters on 2 different Pokemon. And generally which is why I favor it over Forretress. Now there's a lot of similarities in this variation. I think basically the entire deck is the same, it's just a different line of Pokemon. Yeah, I don't think there are any differences aside from that. I saw the Scoop Ups, the Scoop Cyclone, the 1 Secret Ash, the 2 Mega Turbos, the 1 Battle Compressor, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 VS Seeker, 1 Colress, 1 Lysander, 4 N, 4 Sycamore, 4 Dimension Valleys. I find that very important that you have 4, especially because a lot of people tend to rely heavily on their own stadiums as well. That's another point I forgot to add. 3 Gallade Spirit Links, and of course 8 Basic Energies. And the Mystery Energies are actually less, I guess, less important in this one because obviously these have free retreat costs. I'm not running any of the free retreat cost Zubats anyway, so anyway, when I do just so happen to have them on the active, I can just evolve to Golbat and just switch out for free. Alright, there you go. I'm not really going to have a battle for this match. I mean, for this tech list video, but yeah, I hope you liked what you saw. Hope you make somewhat of a relatively similar variation of my variation. It's not the best, but I do love it. I do love Mega Gallade. Alright, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.